Welcome back, friends. Welcome back, friends. I hope you're feeling as graced and as joyful as I do at this moment. So Julie ended off with, you know, the three questions her priest asked her. What's God's plan for marriage? Um, what is the church's teaching on it? And writings of Paul and the church fathers. He's looking at a very, the patristic roots of our faith. Getting those answers, and then she ended with I think, a pivot idea: living to the best of our ability. Those they're not insights; those teachings, those rock bottom truths, to the best of their ability. Did you have any thoughts, Sarah?
Well, I was thinking back when she was talking about how divorce is so profoundly impacting, no matter what the time frame that it happens. We become a society of Karen has heard me say this before, that if I was a judge and I was hearing family cases, I would tell the children, the husband and wife who are separating, that the house, the dog, the cat, the cars, the clothes, the school, the life is the children's, and that the parents can pack their bags up each weekend and move out, because we've fundamentally lost that the purpose of marriage is for the beginning and building up of the kingdom of God, which can only be done through children and through their education. And it made me think back to when as I said, my father had passed away right before my high school graduation. And then I was put into a situation with a roommate in college who, when she heard that my dad had died right before my high school graduation, she said something to me that I thought was so profound and really always moved me to have such a heart for her, because she said, wow, I never thought that I would meet anybody who had a worse situation than me. My dad, her parents were divorced, she said, and my dad, just didn't bother to show up for my graduation. And I thought, here we have this woman who, just a young adult woman, who has been wounded so grievously by her parents' failure to recognize the inherent responsibilities that are in marriage. And I don't know if that's going to pertain to what you found when you went back to the church fathers, but we have unfortunately adopted a very Disneyfied, and by Disney I don't mean like happy fairy tales, because I do think fairy tales have a place, but the Disneyfied version of a fairy tale, which really is so self-centered, so narcissistic, and as a result of that, marriage does not become about procreation and education of children, which seems to be centered on someone other, but we know that when we look at someone else, God can't be outdone in generosity. So when we give of ourselves to our children or to our spouse, there's always going to be a reciprocity of that. It's only when we try and take for ourselves that everybody loses. And so we really, I think that there are so many people who are so wounded by that selfishness of their parents, and they came from that model of taking for themselves, that we are in a very real problem, a very troubled time, because our children don't see the beauty of giving. They only saw the importance of grabbing what was due to them. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it absolutely makes sense, and it's the reality of what you're sharing. Is 23 years we've been doing a process, I'll call it called marriage discipling, where we work with couples in trouble, on the brink of divorce, that are struggling. And what's so amazing to me is what you just said is basically the foundation of most that come to see us, is when they come from divorce, it is absolutely amazing what takes place. One, the fear instilled in them for anything that happening to them in that way, the lack of commitment, the if you want to call it the word's not coming to the ticket, the saying of, you can do this too, you don't have to worry about what happens because it's all about you. And we have to even stop most of our marriage discipling sessions because we have to take them individually through what we now call healing hearts to heal them from the wounds. And when they come and go through an hour and a half prayer session, most of that is asking to be able to forgive their parents for the hell that they've been put through because of the decision to again, it's sad to say, but it's the truth, to rip the lives apart and the hearts of these children. That, as you were saying, it reminded me of a gal that responded to us one time that said, you know, when there is a death, as sad as there is hope in that death to rise to new life with Christ. But the divorce, when there's a death to a marriage, the ripping apart happens every single day, every single memory, every single whatever gathering, every single thought of. And I know when we meet with these people who are adults now that say, you know, I wonder if I could have gotten a better grade, or I wonder if my room wasn't clean enough, or I wonder if the time that I made my mom mad. They carry the burden of their parents not making it in their commitment of marriage. And if we only knew, if people only knew the destruction of that, no matter what, you do whatever. I'm not saying stay in a horrible marriage. That's not the option, but that doesn't mean I'm saying get out of the marriage. I'm saying do whatever you have to make your marriage right. But isn't that amazing that people are more willing to divorce and rip it apart than they are to get the help they need, because it comes from pride, selfishness, saying, but if I get help, then I won't be able to continue to do these things the way I want to do them. And that's not marriage at all. So yeah.
That's right. All right, my friends. Well, let's pick up on the next episode some tips and tricks on what we found to be helpful, and just share them, you know. And if it fits, as this, you know, the saying goes, wear it, and if it doesn't, put it aside, and maybe in another time it will. Till then, my friends, fides et ratio.